I made a video about 7 military branches the other day, and a lot of people in my comments were upset that I missed things. So today I'm going to clear the air on the secret branches or uniform services that are not technically military branches, and even the playing field so you know about all of them. So first off, we've got the NOAA Commissioned Officer Corps, which is the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Their primary mission is scientific research and environmental intelligence. They're known for things like being hurricane hunters, research ships, ocean mapping. They are a Department of Commerce as their parent organization. So yes, they are a uniformed service, but they are not a military branch. However, they do use naval officer ranks and rank structure. They also use similar Navy military uniforms. Now, the NOAA Corps device features a fouled anchor and the NOAA triangle. Their motto is science, service, and stewardship. Nothing about military and death. But interesting fact, NOAA pilots intentionally fly into hurricanes to gather weather data. So they're not exactly pansies, they just don't go fight your wars. The one-line summary is that NOAA fights Mother Nature. Next up, we've got the U.S. Public Health Service Commissioned Corps, which, I'll be honest, I didn't even know this existed until somebody joined my community, the War Room Mastermind, where we help service members and vets improve their finances. They joined, and that was the branch they chose. And we were all like, how in the world does somebody not military get in our group? And then we realized they're technically uniformed services. They have all of the same benefits, VA loan, and access to everything else. So obviously, we're going to accept them into the group. But prior to that, I had never even heard of this, and I did 13 years active duty in the Marine Corps. The Public Health Service Commissioned Corps, their primary mission is protecting and promoting public health. I know, shocker, the name is just so secretive. Now, they're known for disease response, disaster medication, CDC support. Their parent organization is the Department of Health and Human Services. Again, not a military branch, although a uniformed service. They use naval officer ranks as well. The USPHS has a caduceus and anchor as their emblem. Their motto is in officio salulum, which means in the service of health. And an interesting fact is that the Surgeon General is a commissioned officer. I actually did not know that. And their one-line summary would be that they fight disease. Next up, we've got the Merchant Marines, which a lot of people were commenting on my video about why I didn't include them as a military branch, which is interesting because they are not even considered a uniformed service. They are not federal, right? So they transport military and commercial cargo as their primary mission. They're known for moving fuel, equipment, vehicles, and supplies. Their parent organization is that they're not a military branch. They're a civilian maritime workforce, not federal. They use their own maritime ranks and licenses for their rank structure. Their emblem is a Merchant Marine insignia and seal, and their official motto actually varies by organization because they're not uniformed, but the most recognizable phrase is in peace and war. An interesting fact is that the Merchant Marines actually suffered one of the highest casualty rates of any American service during World War II. And their one-line summary is, the military cannot fight without them. Again, think of them as like running all of our supply chains. So without them, a lot of things would shut down. However, they're not a military branch. They're not even technically a uniformed service, but they are really cool. And you can go to the Merchant Marine Academy and have a really great career and make really good money doing this. And I actually have a friend who did this at one point. I've had a couple discussions with somebody in length about their experience at the Merchant Marine Academy. That said, not a military branch. Next up, we've got the Civil Air Patrol, i.e. CAP. They have a primary mission of emergency services and aerospace education. They're known for search and rescue, disaster response, and their cadet programs. They do have a cadet program. Parent organization, they are an official auxiliary of the United States Air Force, and they use Air Force-style uniforms and distinctive insignia. But again, not a uniform service, not military branch. Now, their emblem is the CAP triangle propeller emblem. Their motto is Semper Vigilans, which means always vigilant. An interesting fact is that Civil Air Patrol aircraft still perform real-world search missions even today. And their one-line summary would be the Air Force's volunteer force. Next up, we've got State Defense Forces. Their primary mission is support state emergencies and homeland missions. They're known for disaster response and state support. For these, the parent organization where they exist is the state governments, or their uniform and rank structure is military-style ranks, but again, it's going to deviate state by state, and their emblem varies by state. As you might expect, their motto also varies by state, but an interesting fact is that unlike the National Guard, they cannot be federalized, meaning they actually stay home. So the one-line summary would be military forces that never leave the state. So these are state government military-like forces. The National Guard, as a quick refresher, their one-line summary would be the bridge between state and federal missions. I know in the previous video that I just said National Guard and didn't say Air Guard or Army Guard or whatever. And then some people were like, the Guard's not a branch, the Guard... Look, I've always joked about this. The National Guard considers themselves to be their own thing until they get in some kind of trouble, and then immediately they're like, nope, we're part of the Army. They're just an interesting group, because if you look at it, everyone's like, oh no, they're part of the Army. They actually have existed longer than the Army. They existed before the country, but it's an interesting dynamic relationship, because the Army doesn't claim the Guard, and the Guard only claims that they belong to the Army when it's convenient for them. If you've watched this channel long enough, you'll know that I have some like deep-seated beef with the National Guard after how their recruiters used to lie to people, and I had to deal with the ramifications. They were the only branch that I ever ran into issues with recruiters, like being just blatantly dishonest with applicants, and so that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. That and the fact that this is going to piss people off in my comments, but a lot of people who join the National Guard seem to have little man syndrome. Like, every National Guard person I meet is somehow Special Forces sniper, badass, until you start asking enough questions to like dig in, and then you realize, it's all a charade. If your bank account is weaker than your bench press, fix that. War Room Mastermind, where we build six-figure muscle. Scan the QR code, click the link, apply today. I even know a guy who was National Guard and tried to convince me that the Marine Corps, like Parris Island, the Marine Corps boot camp, like Parris Island, the East Coast Recruit Training Center, called him in and had him on orders to assist the drill instructors in training new Marines. All my Marines are rolling their eyes with me right now. There's no way that the Marine Corps called in a National Guard guy and was like, we need you to help our drill instructors. I'll take things that never happened for every dollar I've ever made in my entire life. But he's adamant. He's also a Special Forces badass sniper who looks like he could move a house but could not run very far. Doesn't add up. National Guard rant over. All thoughts on that aside. Look, this hopefully clears the air for you guys on the uniformed services versus military branches versus affiliated services. The military branches, realistically, it's the six. Bottom line for most service members is Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps. You know, we've got Coast Guard, which people go back and forth on because they're Department of Homeland Security rather than Department of War. We got the National Guard components. So like you can go back and forth on all of that, but Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Air Force, those are like the key, we're going to war to up components that everybody thinks of. Everything else, there's times and places, right? The National Guard can be. It can also not be. The Coast Guard doesn't leave the U.S., but they do a lot of fun, wild. Hope you found this video entertaining. If I somehow still left one out, feel free to let me know in the comments.